Welcome back, everybody. Once again, we have another great video for you. I'm your host, Steve West. This is a channel that you want to be at if you want to learn great tax tips, credit tips, and funding for your business. If that's you, please hit that subscribe and like button and that notification button so you can be the first one to know about any upcoming videos I have coming. So now let's get started. Step 1 in taking back your credit is going to be the preparation. Preparation number 1 would be knowing what your score is. So I advise you to take use 3 different tools for this. One will be your Credit Karma, which is a free service that will provide you with your Vantage score that will report every week, that you can kind of keep track of what's going on with your credit as you're going through my different strategies to rebuild and correct certain things on your credit. So I will leave a link down below on getting started with Credit Karma, or you can just go to creditkarma.com. It's pretty self-explanatory to get involved. You just need to know your personal information, which you should know, and have a valid email address. Number 2 with the preparation, I would say, is your annualcreditreport.com. According to the Fair Credit Act, everyone is allowed at least one free credit report for all 3 bureaus once a year. So I want you to go to annualcreditreport.com or hit the link in the description now or after the video, and I have it all set for you. You want to go there, you get a TransUnion, Equifax, and your Experian FICO score. Difference between Advantage score from your Credit Karma and your FICO score from annualcreditreport.com is 90-something% of all creditors use your FICO score. But like I said, Credit Karma is more so just to keep track of the activity, not so much your score. Number 3 in preparation, I would say go get you a monitoring service, because everybody heard that saying, you get what you pay for. You're not going to get an extensive breakdown of your credit from Credit Karma as you would get from a paid monitoring service that offer you your FICO score. So I have a great promotion that I can offer you guys. You can get all 3 of your FICO scores that you can use to monitor every month, and the subscription start at 99 cents for your first 7 days, just so you could try it out and see if it's something that you like. So I would leave that in the description down below for anybody who want to take advantage of that 99-cent promotion. So now preparation is done. Now you want to get to your evaluation part. So once you go and pull your credit, I want you to go through it all. And usually at first you will see your personal information. That's your name, your address, things of that nature. So go through all of this on all 3 of your bureaus that you get from annualcreditreport.com, your Equifax, TransUnion, and your Experian, one at a time. Check your name. Make sure that your name is put exactly how your name is spelled. You don't want no nicknames, no different variations of your name. Just want your first and your last name. If it's your first, last, and your middle, that's fine. But typically you want just your first and your last. Like I said, no nicknames. If your first name is Bob, it should say Bob for your first name, not your middle name for your first name. You don't want any sort of variations. I must make that very, very clear, because that can hurt you in the long run. After you check your names, any different variations you see, just highlight it with a highlighter or circle it so you know what we have to address. Then you move forward after you do all 3 bureaus to your addresses. Typically you want your newest address only listed. If you have previous address listed and it's attached to active credit cards or loans, then there's nothing you can do about that except contact the loan providers or the credit card providers, change your address, or update your address rather, and then you can correct that within the credit bureau. Reason why you only want one address if possible, or as least as possible, because you don't want to seem unstable. You don't want to seem like you're always hopping around from here, there, 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 because you'll make a creditor very nervous. If I'm loaning someone money, I want to know where I can find that person. I want to know that person is stable. I want to know that person is steady. If this person always hopping around, it's going to be harder for me to track this person if I need to get paid. So that's why we want to check our addresses and make sure that we have as few as possible. And also make sure that every address that's listed was actually an address you stayed at. So anything you see that's incorrect, I want you to highlight that as well, or put a little circle on it so we can address it later on when it comes to the execution part. Moving down, your satisfactory. This is very important. If I'm paying my bills on time, I want to make sure that it's reporting to the bureau that I'm paying my bills on time, because I want other creditors to see the great relationship that I have with the creditors that I have. I want potential creditors to see the great relationship that I have with the present creditors. So please look at all of your satisfactory accounts and make sure that every account that you know that you have is accounted for. Those that are not accounted for in any of the bureaus, just take note so we can address that. And how we're going to address that is we're going to contact our creditors. You know, hi, my name is such and such. I have a Capital One card with you for X amount of limit. My information is so on and so forth. They'll pull you up. Say I was looking through my credit report, for example, and I only noticed that you're reporting to TransUnion and Equifax. You're not reporting to my Experian. So I'm just giving you a heads up so you can update that. They will tell you one of two things. Oh, I apologize. Let us fix that for you. Then you will see a boost in your Experian because you would get that positive reportings there. Or they will simply tell you, oh, I'm sorry, we do not report to all three bureaus. We only report to Equifax and TransUnion, which is fine. You can't do nothing about that. Well, at least you know that there's nothing, nobody's dropping the ball. You're not missing out on opportunities where you're entitled to. Now let's go to the derogatory remarks. You ever seen those posts that people, oh, my score jumped up 100, 200 points in a week, in 3 weeks? It's because of these steps. And this is one of the bigger ones as well. Your derogatory remarks. You want to first make sure that the derogatories that are being reported is actually correct. Because if it's not correct, by law, you can challenge these items and they could be removed off of your report. So one of the first things you want to do when you're looking at the derogatory remarks is check the year. Because if something was reported derogatory for over 7 years, they no longer allowed to report to the credit bureau. It must automatically fall off. If it hadn't fell off, you can contact them and demand that they remove it. If not, you can take legal action against that company. So you want to first check the year before we start the fighting and the disputing. That could be the easiest task right there. Then you want to go and look at all the derogatories and make sure they actually belongs to you. If they don't belong to you, then you want to highlight it. Same way you would do if over 7 years, highlight it or circle it, so you know how to address it on the next step. And also you want to see the late payments and the different comments that are being reported about you. Make sure they're correct. If it's not, circle it. And by any means, nobody's perfect. Sometimes we apply for stuff and we forget that we applied for it. If you're unaware about this account in question or these accounts in question, circle it. Because if you're unaware of it, you're entitled to see proof that you opened this account. And they can't provide that proof, then they must take it off by the Fair Credit Act. They must take it off. No ifs, ands, buts about it. So now that we have all this out the way, your preparation is prepared, you have everything highlighted or circled that you need to address or you need to correct. Now we're going to go to the correction. Now the correction is going to be simply go to each bureau. One at a time. You're going to go to transunion.com, dispute. I'll put the link down below. A lot of times when you Google TransUnion disputes, you get a whole bunch of credit companies saying, oh, I can repair your credit, I can fix your credit for you in 30 days, 60 days, whatever, and they charge you hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. Sometimes they do minimum work, sometimes they do great work. So I'm gonna tell you a little secret. Same thing that they're doing, you can do yourself. Because nobody allowed to dispute anything for you but you. So little did you may know, when they send out letters on your behalf, they're not sending it on the behalf of themselves. They writing letters with your name on it as if you're sending it. And that shows you there that no one's allowed to dispute something on your credit but you. So why can't you simply send out a letter yourself and save yourself hundreds or sometimes thousands of dollars? Now, if you just don't have the time or the patience, sure, find a credit repairer and they can take care of that for you. But moving along, credit dispute on TransUnion, you want to go to that website first, or either one. Now you want to look at your annual credit report, and anything that you highlighted or circled would have a report number near it. You want to put those reports inside of the dispute box for TransUnion. For any of your derogatories, this is what we're talking about, the derogatories. And you want to upload it. Then everything will pop up regarding that account. That's why I said go to your annual credit report first, because when you put in that report number, it makes it easier when you're doing the dispute. Now, once you put it in, they're going to give you a list of options. That list of options is going to be why you pretty much disputing this. You don't recognize it. It could be one. You was never late. It could be another. Not your account. You put whatever best fits and describe the situation that relates to you, and then that dispute is done. And you want to do this for every single derogatory for TransUnion. Same steps, you follow it, and then do the same thing for Equifax, the same thing for Experian. And that's how we take care of the derogatories. I already told you how to take care of the satisfactories. The satisfactory, you just want to just give them a call if they're not reported to all three, and let them know and ask them why they're not, and do they report to all three. Your name and your address, you want to call the bureaus themselves and update your information. They're going to ask you to send in a picture of your ID, probably a copy of your social, and proof of address. Whatever they need from you is usually 2 of those 3 items. You send it in and they update it immediately. Sometimes they don't need any information. You can just tell them verbatim over the phone and they'll be able to update certain information for you. So now that that's out the way, you're already on the great path of fixing your credit already, and you will start to see some tremendous results. One thing I want you to take note of when you're doing the evaluation, I should have mentioned it earlier, is looking at your utilization. Sometimes a quick boost in your score can be simply paying down some of your credit cards. It's great to be at below 30% utilization. That's pretty much 30% of, for example, if you have a $1,000 credit limit on one of your credit cards, 30% of $1,000 is $300. So you don't want to spend more than $300 at any time on that credit card when it's time for reporting, because then you're going to be over 330%. I particularly like to be below 10% because it's an even greater boost for you. But if you can just stay below 30, that'd be great, and you'll see some tremendous jumps, because that's 35% of your credit right there is your utilization. But sometimes a simple hack like that is paying some of your credit balances down to below 30%, and you'll see huge jumps. So another way I like to dispute is, once I send off these electronic dispute, when I go to each of the agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and submit my disputes online, they have 30 to 45 days to reply to me and either remove it because it's inaccurate, or validate that, confirm that it is accurate and don't remove it at all. The only thing about doing it online is that you lose your rights of them sending you proof. But that's fine. You don't lose it permanently, just on that certain dispute at that time. So, but The reason I like to do that first because it's easier, and sometimes you get a lot of easy ones out the way. Now, whatever remains after the 30 to 45 days, you now want to send in dispute letters. I typically like to send in my dispute letters directly to the credit bureau first and list all the different disputes that shouldn't be there. I would have an example. Matter of fact, I would have the actual dispute letters that I use listed down below that was working for me and my clients for many, many years. They've always been updated as the time progressed, just to be more caught up with the time. And it's a free download for you right below this video that you can take advantage of to start disputing and getting rid of derogatory and collections off of your report. So now, like I said, I like to send my disputes to the bureau first and let them address the creditors. Give that to 30, 45 days for them to address the creditors. But in these disputes through letter, which I'm going to send certified mail, by the way. In New York, my certified mail is about $3. And you're not going to do that for each dispute. You're going to do that for each bureau or what have you. So when you contact TransUnion, you're going to put all your TransUnion disputes in one mailing, and then that'll be $3. Then the same thing for your Equifax, that'll be $3. Same thing with your Experian, that'll be $3. So it'll be about $9 within that 30 to 45 day period. So now they have to send you some type of proof, or validation is the key. That's the word, showing that that is yours. If they cannot validate or prove it with certain things like a wet signature, they have to remove that. They can't just say, oh no, it's yours because I know it's yours. No, they have to show proof that is yours. And in the link down below, I will have a page that you can go to for different validations that is only accepted by law to prove that is yours. So after that 30 and 45 day period is up and the credit bureau reach out to the creditors and you see your results, whatever remains on, I would then start disputing that. But in the meantime, celebrate, because you may have got some of those items already removed. And this is why many people pay for credit repair, because this could be time consuming. Sometimes you could get lucky and do it online and everything get wiped out, especially if your derogatory is really thin. And then if not, you got to go to step 2, send it into the bureau. That's another 30 to 45 days. Then you got to go to step 3. A lot of people don't have the patience or the time because they schedule to do it. It's easy work, but it takes time sometimes. And like I said, the next step, I will send a different letter that you can also get below to the creditors themselves, and also I would send it to the bureau again. So now I'm addressing the bureau again with a different letter, being a little more aggressive and stating a little more details of the law and showing some that I'm not backing down. You know, a lot of times people just give up too easy. I'm showing I'm not backing down. I need this validation. I need proof, because I'm willing to go the next step, which is, you know, court or what have you, after we go through our different strategies on sending out the letters. So now the creditors are seeing my dispute directly and the credit bureau at the same time. And once again, they have 30 to 45 days to report to us a validation of this debt, if not to remove it off the credit. So I hope this information was helpful to you guys. Also subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hit that notification bell, because when I come up with a new video on showing how to actually boost your credit, that's going to be something very informative that's going to help you out. Because it's not just about repairing and fixing the negatives or the incorrection that's on your credit report. It's also about boosting it up and making it pretty. You know, adding some points to it, adding some value. So once again, this was D West. And I always appreciate you for giving me the time. You can be anywhere else in the world, but you're here watching me.